guys, welcome to my channel, or if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Alison and welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I'm doing a foundation review. If you guys like foundation review, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, make sure you guys click that subscribe button down below and also click that ring bell button so that you get notification whenever I post a new video on my YouTube channel and you'll be the first one to see it. So today we're testing out the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage Protective Makeup Sunscreen with the SPF 50. I purchased this on Amazon personally, but they have it on Ulta and Maybelline website. So I'm just quickly go on the Ulta website and read off what it claims on this foundation. So first of all, this foundation, it retails for $12.99 on Ulta, and it comes in only 16 shades. And I know for a foundation that it comes with only 16 shades, it's not a good shade range, and I did actually have to purchase a few more to get the right shade. Actually, this is not like the perfect match, but it's the closest one that it matched my skin tone. But if you can't find your shade, you might have to just purchase two color and mix it by yourself. So that's the only downside of this foundation first of all. So details on this foundation, it is a full coverage makeup specific formulated to protect your skin from harmful environment aggressors. The Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage Foundation SPF 50 by Maybelline is a lightweight foundation that has broad spectrum SPF 50 and is enriched with antioxidants to protect against pollution. It not only leaves a natural looking finish, but it protects skin day after day. Available in 16 shades and dermatologist test. So there are some benefits on this foundation. First, full coverage protective makeup that achieves a lightweight, breathable finish. It has an SPF 50, helps to protect the skin from UVA and UVB damage, enriched with antioxidants to protect against pollution and even skin tone and cover your imperfections. So for a drugstore foundation, $12.99, I would say it's a decent price for a drugstore foundation, and it only comes in 1 fluid ounce, which is what typical foundation comes in with a bottle. So one more thing you have to be aware, this is a chemical sunscreen. So if you guys are sensitive with chemical sunscreen, you might not be able to use this foundation. And also, there are some pros and cons with chemical sunscreen. It blends easily, it feels lightweight, and usually chemical sunscreen, it mixes well with a lot of foundation or skincare products. And there's no white cast on chemical sunscreen. Also, there might be people saying it might be toxic for your skin or the environment, but there's no like strong proof on the chemical sunscreen what is harmful. So I'm just putting out some pros and cons on the chemical sunscreen so you guys can decide. So the shade that I got on this foundation is 112, which is natural ivory. And I have to say this is not a perfect match, but I managed to match my neck color with the bronzer on. So this is what the bottle looks like. It's in this plastic squeezy tube. It doesn't come with a pump. It's just the application, you squeeze out the foundation out. It's easy to travel with, and you don't have to worry about it break the glass bottle because this is a plastic. So now let's get onto the application. Okay, to begin with this foundation, I'm gonna go in to prep my skin with this 2 primer. So first of all, I'm gonna go in with this Rimmel London Stay Matte Primer because I do get very oily on my T-zone. So I'm just gonna apply this specifically on this area where I get very oily. And then next, I'm gonna go in with this Ole Harrison Banana Bright Face Primer. I do like this kind of brighten up my face a little and smooth out my pores. So I usually get very oily on this area and my chin area, and the rest I'm just gonna tap in to the center of my face. And then moving on, if you guys know me, I like using my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector every time when I do my makeup because it just cancels out the dark circle. So I'm not sure if you guys can tell in the camera, this side with the brightener on, it just kind of lift up that area instead. With my bare skin, you can tell it's like very dew and dark. So I really like this before applying my foundation and primer. So now moving on to the foundation, let's give it a nice shake. Put it on the back of my hand. I really like this foundation because it comes in SPF of 50, so you don't have to put on any sunscreen before applying foundation. And because personally, I just hate layer a lot of skincare on top of my face before the foundation. So this is a plus for me. So now I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. sponge, and this is my favorite sponge at the moment, and I just love this flat top, it just give it a very nice blend and quick, easy to blend the foundation over your face. Now you can see this is a little slightly lighter than my skin tone just because I can't find the right shade, and I did purchase actually 4 shades and I have to end up returning 3 of them, and this is like the closest one that it matches my skin tone. So if you're struggling and you can't find your right shade, you might have to mix 2 different color, but I personally can work this shade out on my face after bronzing and everything. But right off the bat, this foundation, it blends up very easily. It looks like a very light coverage and it kind of absorbs really fast on the face because of the chemical sunscreen on it. So this is what one layer looks like, and I'm gonna just put on a little more to see if it covers it up. So if you guys have dry skin, I have to say you have to prep your skin very nicely because it does cling to dry patches that I have around my mouth area, on my chin area. So you have to really prep your skin to put this foundation on top. Okay, so this is what one layers look like on the face, and I just say it is very light to medium coverage, and I don't feel anything on top of the face. It's not heavy on the face at all with this foundation on, and it blends very easily and it kind of absorbs very fast, so you do have to work fast on this foundation. And right now this is what it looks like. So the finish it gives is a very natural finish. I don't look dewy or I don't look very matte on the face, which is what I like on this foundation because it just looks like my skin but better, and it's a very natural finish. So just want to quickly check in. The time is 1:32 right now, so this is when the time when I put on this foundation, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I did spend about 30 minutes to do my makeup, and this is the final look here. I didn't put on any lipstick because I'm gonna eat my lunch later on. I am having a very late start of the day because it's my weekend. But then let's get back to the foundation. I have to say I do have a little dry patches around this mouth area and on my forehead area. Those are the area that I apply my acne lotion, and that's why it's a little bit drier than usual. But I have to say this foundation, it doesn't blend very nicely on the dry patches. So if you guys have dry skin, I don't think you will like this foundation. And if you guys do have normal skin, I recommend you guys to put on a nice layer of moisturizer before using this foundation, because I can tell it just clings to the dry patches and it doesn't blend well. But I have the feeling if my natural oil comes through, it just kind of makes it more of a natural looking. I have a feeling that this foundation, it will look great on my oily skin because of my natural oil comes through, and then it just kind of mixes well with the foundation. But I have to say I did spray my MAC Fix Plus 3 times because of how cakey it looks. And for the first time when I applied this foundation and I use my Thrive Cosmetics setting powder on the center of my face, and then I use my Chanel powder on the rest of the face, I have to say it's a little cakey and it just kind of just doesn't blend well with the foundation. So I have to go in with my Matte Fix Plus to fix that cakey look and to fix some dry patches on my face. So that is something that you have to be aware. And after that, I have to let it set, and then when I was doing my eye makeup, I have to just put on the Matte Fix Plus again on my mouth area because it's just very cakey. I don't like that looking. So I end up spraying this MAC Fix Plus 3 times on this foundation because just how cakey it looks around the dry patches. So if you guys are wondering what I did on my eye look today, I used the Kaja Moon Crystal eyeshadow to apply mainly on over my eye area, and on my outer corner I did go in with this Charlotte Tilbury the Icon palette, and the shade that I use is this brownie shade, which is the second row on this palette. And I just love how natural it blends and it looks on the eye. And eyeliner, I'm just using my roller liner eyeliner from Benefit. And for my contour, I'm using my Huda Beauty cream contour in Fair. And I have to say, this is a contour that you have to really be careful. You don't want to put too much product on the face because or else you just mess up your whole makeup look. And for the blush, I'm going with my Buxom Wanderlust blush. And for highlighter, today I went in with this Dior Backstage 02 Glitz highlighter. So So in this palette, I did go in with this kind of like peachy shade on the palette, but it does looks very nice and it's a very nice kind of natural glow. I don't know if you guys can tell. So this is what I put on the underneath of the highlighter, and then I went in with this more of a glitter highlighter. It's more of a peachy look, and I'm gonna swatch for you guys. This is what it looks like. So for those of you who are wondering what is on my face today, so these are the item, and I'm gonna check back in with you guys in a few hours later and see how this foundation work on my oily skin. But for now, I really like the finish of it. It's just that if you start with the dry face, it might cling to the dry patches, so you might have to be aware of that. Alright guys, I'm back for the midday check-in, and now the time is 5:23, which this foundation has been on my face for about 4 hours now. So as you can tell on the camera, you may see my natural oil come through and it looks a lot more natural. And you guys can see on the cheek area, there's a little dewiness, but it's not oily at all. It's just my natural oil come through. But I did went out for an hour under the sun and I was just taking pictures. But I wasn't sweating or anything, but this foundation, it does still holding up very nicely. And one thing I want to mention, I do have allergies, so I'm constantly blowing my nose all the time, and I can see around my nose area the foundation is already off. And I feel like with the oil combination, this foundation is very easy to come off the face if you blow your nose, or if you just touch your hand on your face and the foundation, it would just easily to come off. So this is the only thing that you guys have to be aware of. But so far, this foundation hold up very nicely on the forehead area and around my cheek. But then on the chin area, it's looking a lot less cakey, but still it's not smooth foundation layer on top of the face. I can see some texture and I can see some lines. But it's not a big deal because you can really tell from a distance. There's no one gonna come into your face and look at your chin area. So I feel like it's still fine. I can still bear with it. So within this 4 hours mark, the only issues is when I blow my nose, the foundation is easily come off the face. But then it looks a lot less cakey, and this area is not as smooth, but it's not as cakey as well. You can definitely see some texture. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Around my nose area, you guys definitely can tell the foundation is off when I blow my nose. And also below my nose area, the foundation is completely off already. But then other than that, I like how it looks on the cheek. My contour, blush, highlight is still on. And usually between my brows area where I get very oily, I can see some oil come through, but it's not like it's super oily. It's gonna take off the foundation, but we will see later on after a few hours mark and see how it reacts with this foundation. I usually don't do touch up, so you guys can see how it wears throughout the day. And on the chin area, I'm not sure, is it showing in the camera? This is a lot more of a texture area. You can see my lines. But in the camera, I feel like it still looks fine with the distance. Okay, so these are my quick thoughts in this 4 hours wear, and I'm gonna give you guys a final thoughts later on in another 3 to 4 hours and see how this foundation react to my face, or does it completely off, because I do have a serious allergy maybe kick in later on. So I'm just gonna give you guys an update in a few hours, and I'll see you later. Alright guys, so this is the final check-in. Now the time is 9:24, which means I've been wearing this foundation for about 8 hours, which is a really decent wear of time for a day. And I have to say, I have been actually wearing this foundation for a week before filming this foundation review with you guys. So now that I have collected all my thoughts about this foundation and give you guys my final review on this foundation. So let's talk about the pros of this foundation. First of all, it's very lightweight and it comes in SPF 50, which comes really handy in the morning, so you don't have to apply a sunscreen on top of this foundation. And this foundation just gives you a very natural lightweight finish. And for this foundation with my oily skin, it does last me about 8 hours wear. And usually after 8 hours, I do get oilier. So now that 8 hours wear is like a decent amount of oil combination with this foundation on, it still looks bearable and it's not very oily that I feel like it's too heavy or the foundation is moving around on my face. I feel like this foundation once that your natural oil mixed with this foundation, it does comes off easily if you just touching it on your face with your fingers or if you just blow your nose. And I just had my dinner earlier, and when I was wiping my mouth area, some foundation it took off around this area. And earlier today when I checked in, I do have allergies, so I blow my nose and the foundation is off around this area as well. So that's something that you have to keep in mind of. But other than that, I feel like this foundation, it might not be good for those who have dry skin. And for normal skin, you might have to prep your face very well before using this foundation because it does cling to dry patches like around my nose area and my mouth area where I get the dryness, and it does cling onto it. It doesn't go smoothly on the face, so that is something that you have to keep in mind of. But with my oily skin, usually I'm good with it with the moisturizer on top, and then just put this foundation on and just let it be for 2 hours and have my natural oil mixed with this foundation. So those are the pros and cons, and it really depends on if your skin is irritated to chemical sunscreen. And it's also something that if you would consider it's easier for application, you don't have to worry about a sunscreen. It comes with the SPF 50, which is a really high of a level of SPF. I don't think I see any drugstore foundation it comes in this high of a SPF. So I feel like this is the first one that I've tried, and I think this is a very natural looking, very lightweight. It does last me long for 8 hours. I don't think this would be a holy grail foundation for me because recently I did review this L'Oreal Infallible 24 Hours Wear Foundation. This is still my go-to foundation. I love this, but I don't think the Maybelline foundation would beat the L'Oreal yet because I feel like this is a lot longer. It doesn't transfer. It's just that it doesn't have a high dosage of sunscreen. It only comes in 25, but that one comes in 50. So it really depends on what your needs and what you like about the foundation. But I personally would choose L'Oreal Infallible 24 Hours Wear over the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover. I feel like this, it gives me a nicer coverage, it lasts me longer, and it doesn't transfer when I'm eating or if I have allergy I have to blow my nose. But with this one, it just gives me a more of a lightweight coverage and a high dosage of SPF 50. So that's all my foundation review. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. If you guys do, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!